Hey guys, how you going? Welcome to the Positive Experience podcast, where we look at the good, the bad and the ugly in living your best life. Today's segment is called In the Trenches, where we look behind the scenes at what's happening in the clinic. Hey guys, welcome back to our roundtable session. This is the four amigos that come together once a month to review the month of March. So in the month of March, today, we'd like to review something we call Media Days. So for one afternoon, for a couple of hours, the lads come together. We go through some materials where we record some great stuff that you may have seen of us online or on our emails. Plus, is a chance to perform an in-service. So Avi actually stepped up to the plate here and he shared a lot of great information for myself, Mike, and Con. Plus, we had some university students there, and it was really, really insightful. So we just wanted to give you guys a review and some insights on what we picked up. So how about we start with Avi, just a little overview on what your presentation was on and how you felt, being in the spotlight.
So I presented on the squat. So I went through all the stuff that I've been learned off the great Andrew Locke, Stuart McGill, and Shant Rahman. Shout out to Shant because he's doing really well with his career at the moment. So I went through the squat, what kind of testing I do before you get into the actual squat movement, what we look for and what I look for, especially when we're learning the body weight squat and what cues I give there, and then stability work that can help open up your hip or any other structures that are lagging. And then we got under the barbell and taught some cues and had a couple of people practice and gave them some things that they can work on when they get home and implement.
For me, that's really great, Avi. And for me, it was like if you watch a builder in construction and they're building a house and they kind of look off into the distance and they look at a house, they can pick up straight away where there's some problems in the structure of the house, and they're like, oh, this is not so good. The skirting's a bit dodgy, got to redo that, and what I was observing Avi in the way that he drove the in-service was as we each got to perform squats, there were little things that we could pick up. But then with Avi's highly trained eye, he could pick up even more bits and pieces, which allows us to troubleshoot those areas. So that was really impressive from my perspective. How about you, Con? What did you pick up and how did you feel on the session on Tuesday?
I thought it was really good because, one, it was a systematic progression, and it also you could see you had a good base foundation about how to strengthen your glutes as a way to promoting stability around the pelvis and back. So even though a lot of my clients won't be squatting, I could see how useful it is as a diagnostic tool and as a way of giving them something to strengthen their sort of glutes and pelvic area as a way to promoting lumbar spine stability. So that's what I really like. So I actually found myself going home and practicing them. So I quite like them. I thought it was well done, Avi, for diagnostic, progression, and also you can use this and you can use this in your rehab for clientele, regardless of whether they're in the gym or not, which I like. Modify it accordingly.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Thanks for your thoughts there, Con. Mike, what were your thoughts, mate? Maybe were there the cues that were helpful, like spreading the floor? I like those things that lay people can understand because I'm a simple person myself. How'd you find it, big fella?
Yeah, I found it really good. I agree with Con in terms of seeing all those little things. Something you mentioned also, because we know we always use the squat as a functional tool, like a functional assessment, and just really picking at it every single little aspect from the hip all the way down, even starting further up. I found myself as well, the week after doing the in-service with Avi, I'm like, okay, you could see a lot more. And then it was giving us more of a story about what's going on with the presentation in front of us. So I found that translating into my practice really well. The other thing I noticed was just how many steps actually were, because I thought, the squat sounds like a pretty simple thing to do, just literally one motion, but when you really pick at it, just to keep it safe, to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck and you're hitting everything correctly, there is a lot of steps involved. So I appreciated how simple and complicated it is at the same time.
That's awesome. I appreciate your feedback. And what I also appreciate is the open-mindedness of the team. Like Con's got plenty of years of experiences, plenty of runs on the board, 20 plus years. I've been in the game for about 13 years, and this was all new information for me to implement, so I'm happy to approach it with open eyes, with, an open mind. And it was really insightful. And, for Avi being a couple of years out and growing in his experience, I just wanted to put the spotlight on you, Avi, and how you actually felt teaching. That's a different element. A lot of people do struggle being in front of the microphone. So how was that? Because you look like you were enjoying yourself.
Yeah, because I found it pretty comfortable, thanks to Lecky. From the start, I feel like you've put me straight under the bus since I've joined up straight into the media, and I feel like I've grown a lot from it. Just being in front of the camera, speaking, and it's made me become more confident each time I do it. And I think you said that from the start. The more and more you do it, you just get better and better. And that's how I feel now, being like 2.5 years out. In the camera, I'm not that shy. I feel a lot more confident, especially presenting. It felt the exact same. All that build-up that's led up to that made it a lot easier, especially in something that I'm really passionate about, which made it a lot more comfortable for me to speak about, because I knew all the answers, pretty much most of the answers that were being asked or thrown at me, and how to sort of approach the situation. And especially when you're passionate about something, it makes it a bit easier.
Mate, that's a really key point. So one example of being thrown a curveball, one of the university students had a back issue, and we were partnered up, and she was my partner, and I was familiar with it, and I was a bit sort of topsy-turvy because she was a bit hesitant going to some testing. And there was one key cue where incorporating sort of this modified squat, and there's some elements to it. And she was actually able to perform the squat pain-free and with full range. And that was it was magic for me to see that live, because watching her squat unaided, using her body weight, no weight, and she felt the pain. She was really iffy. And then looking at some guidance from Avi in terms of what to look for with testing, and then prescribing the right sort of movements, like a slight heel raise, like hip width, and then having this weight safely out in front of you, just opened up her range, gave her the stability that she needed. So that's a massive curveball, and Avi hit that one out of the park. So I just thought that just enhances further, knowing your foundations, and then that way you can customize your help to everyone. So that way, when you walk through the doors and you're looking for help from a professional, you want to feel like you're being heard, number one, and number two, that you're getting specific help for your specific problem. So I thought that was really, really good. If you were thinking about presenting, Avi, what was one of the hardest tests, or what's a test that somebody can easily implement at home, and where could you point them to find out more information?
A simple test is, I can give it two, is a simple knee to wall test in a lunge. It's always good to check out your ankle range, because ankle is very important. It affects your walking, your running, all kinds of gait patterns, and then especially the squat, because you want your knees to go past your toes, because that allows you to stay upright as much as possible. If you got limited ankle range, it's going to shift you back, and you're not going to let the knees go past your toes, which is going to load up your more lower back. So all you need to do is try get in the bottom of a lunge position, drop the knee, front foot. All you want to do is get the knee to try and touch the wall, and then bring it back and see how far you can get before your heel starts to lift off the ground, or your knee can't touch the wall. And usually you want to aim for around, you should be able to get 10 centimeters to have a sufficient, but depending on person's height, if someone's a little bit taller, you want to get a little bit further. And you can find that in our blog post that we've written up on the squat, and a couple of Instagram videos that will be popping up on our feeds. So that'll go through those tests in detail on how to actually conduct them.
Ooh, sounds pretty good. All right, cool. So, Mike, could you give us an example on some of the things that you may have implemented, or maybe even thought about since the media day on Tuesday? Maybe you've seen a couple of clients and you thought, okay, maybe I'll try my hand at this test or look at these cues. What have you tried?
Number one, personally, I was trying more the the Scour test and the Craig's test, just getting a better idea of my hip anatomy and what's a better stance for me and what would be most comfortable and safe for my squat. That was the first thing I found extremely helpful. The second thing was just more so simple squat functional tests that we do, the sit to stand, looking at the shifts, looking at each joint, looking if are there compensatory patterns, why are there compensatory patterns, and delving into that. So more so the functional assessment of the squat has been a big one for me over the week.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that. So guys, viewers, what you will see is a slight change in the way that we're going to be bringing information to you. So this March Media Day, we recorded some content that touches on the squat, absolutely, plus a few other bits and pieces. So there's a Q&A format, there's some video demonstrations. It's on the back of a blog post, which is going to be easy to read. So any of these videos that you do see, feel free to just jump onto our socials or our blog post, and it has all the follow-up information in there. So we appreciate your time and your attention. And, as always, we're all about making healthy simple. So into next month's roundtable, we may review dry needling, which we're fortunate enough to have Con help us through as a bit of an in-house in-service. Maybe we can review that roundtable next. So we're really looking forward to that Con. And just as a little hint, how long have you been practicing in dry needling, and how did you find your way into this particular practice?
I've been practicing it for, I think it's about 3 years now. And I was a healthy skeptic in terms of not thinking it doesn't work, but if it works, it will stand the test of time. So I asked people in physiotherapists with quite a lot of experience, and also spoke to patients, and I had positive feedback. And I started applying a few techniques to certain body areas to become proficient, because I felt that if you're proficient in fewer techniques, then that confidence, you can sort of take it towards other body areas. And I've been pleasantly surprised, especially sometimes it's quite powerful on its own, but especially the timing of it and using it as an adjunct.
Perfect.
It's yielded excellent results.
I'm really looking forward to it, and we will speak to you about that in our next roundtable, guys. So I appreciate you joining us for our chat today. Keep an eye out for our great stuff, and a big shout out to all the big brains out there, to Sean, to Andrew Locke. So, thanks, guys. See you guys soon.